to respiration. Physiology. Okay, in this respiratory physiology, we are looking at very just 8 things. We are looking at just 8 things. The first thing we are looking at is the meaning of respiratory physiology. We need to know what respiratory physiology is. The next thing we'll be looking at, very simply, we'll be looking at also the variations in respiratory physiology. What are the variations? The next thing we'll also be looking at very quickly, okay, will be the types of respiratory physiology. What are the types? Then stages, okay, pick your Bible, you need to know this. Definition, variation, types, stages of life and stages of respiration, okay, functional anatomy, classification, function of respiratory physiology, there are about 12 of them, and clinical correlates. As usual, we use flowchart to make it easy to capture. So this has been filtered from, okay, basic textbook. It has been filtered from basic textbook and approved materials, okay, from professors who have been teaching MBBS and giving examination, oral exam in Viva, okay, over the decades, okay, about over 4 decades and the likes of your essential textbook and the rest of them. Do you follow? Okay, so make sure you are paying attention and make sure you are giving thumbs up as usual. Okay, so let's go starting with the definition. What is respiratory physiology? As usual, you take a Bible, I take mine. Okay, and we are starting with respiratory physiology. Now we teach from book as usual. What is respiratory physiology? Respiratory physiology, keyword, is a branch of human physiology. Take note of that. A branch of human physiology that does what? That deals with the study of the different parts, okay, or specific functions of the different parts of what? Respiratory system. So you have respiratory system, you have different parts, you have specific function, you have study of, okay, human physiology. That's all about it. Because respiratory physiology is a study, is a branch of human physiology. Number two, that studies the specific functions. Number three, of the different parts of that respiratory physiology or respiratory system rather. Do you follow? All right. So be calm, put it down, take note of it. Number one, it is a branch of human physiology that deals, okay, with, watch this closely, it's a branch of human physiology that deals with the study, okay, of the different, of the specific functions, all right, of the different parts of what? Of the respiratory system. So a branch of physiology studying the mechanisms and processes by which different organisms exchange gases and all that. Now, this is the general accepted this. But what I'm telling you, okay, is what professors in MDCN telling. This is what textbook and all this chat talks about. Do you follow? Thumbs up if you are with me as usual. Okay. All right. So we continue. We continue. Now, the next thing we want to look at very closely is the variation. Is the variation. As we talk about the variation, it's very important. Variation is simply considering, please pay attention very closely. So we talk about variation. The variation, okay, of respiratory physiology, all right, simply talks about the, can we jump from variation to something else? Let's not be too conclusive. Okay, let's just be too conclusive, because that variation, it's too conclusive. You can use the acronym HIP the use. HIP the use. All right. Have I dropped it here? Okay, I've not dropped it here. Let me check. There's a structure. I did the HIP the use. That's why I said it's very conclusive, because you need to go through a whole lot of, to screw down, and I don't want to make it. All right, let's just hit something somewhere. Okay, so now we are done with definition. All right, let's look at types. Let's look at types. I'm done with definition. I take to pick my barrel. We are looking at types of respiration. Now, what are the types? Watch this closely. Two types of respiration: external and internal. EI. You know of AI, this one is EI. Don't forget the definition. Definition is just two things. Number one, how different parts of respiratory system, how they physiology that deals with the study of the specific functions of different parts of respiratory system is what respiratory physiology is. And if you are to define any other physiology, you define the same way. That is the branch of human physiology that deals with the specific functions of the different parts of that system, be it GIT system, be it respiratory system, be it endocrinology system, be it whatever system. Do you follow? Okay, so let me pause my notification. So we continue. We're done with types now. Remember, now that we've added types, we need to recall the other one. And that's how we actually study here. When we study one thing, we repeat one or two times, three, four, five times, then we add another thing and we repeat all over again. That is how to register in the long-term memory. Do you follow? Now, remember I've been saying, if you have short period to exams and you are on this clip, guess what you do? It's very simple. All right, you must study using past question. That is, you look for the past question to address the topic you should internalize. Do you follow? And now you can come to videos like this and watch how we internalize such concept. All right, so we're done with types now: external expiration and internal respiration. In external and internal respiration, now you have pulmonary and systemic circulation. Pulmonary and systemic circulation. There is pulmonary circulation, there is systemic circulation of this respiration. Okay, so now that we are done with that, the next thing we want to look at is the stages. Now we have stages of life, and we also have stages of respiration. We have stages of life and stages of respiration. Don't forget where we are coming from. You can take note as a matter of let me tension this thing well. It's giving me some interesting tough time. Okay, it's well tension now. So as a matter of this thing, we've talked about definition. That's the first thing. Second thing, talk about types. Okay, and third thing, we talk about variation. All right, and that variation we said hip the ews. I'm going to spell it for you: HEAPDEWES. Okay, HEAPDEWES. Hip the ews. It stands for the variation. That is, people who are in what? Hip the ews. Please pay attention closely. People who are in Okay, people who are in high altitude, people who are in high altitude, we together now. There's a way they breathe. Okay, in standing, sorry, where the atmospheric pressure, okay, is very high, decreasing oxygen pressure or oxygen availability. Therefore, increase red blood cells production will be necessary. Now, what do I mean by that? What do I mean by that? Pay attention. We said number one, definition of respiratory physiology. You know, we are using teach from book, so I have to be checking book to teach from book, and this is exactly how you study. You want to study, don't keep your mouth shut to study, sleep will come. You have to make it engaging, and that's why after this session, which we want it to last for just 30 minutes, after this session, 30 minutes and we are done. After this session, we are going to do what? Create a beautiful fashion out of this, a beautiful, breakfast out of, a beautiful epic, out of this, a beautiful interesting thing out of it, and you're going to see it's going to be wonderful, going fire and trending. So what happens is that you have to make sure that you as a person, you have to make sure that you as a person watch it and watch how this thing play out. Okay, so definition of respiratory physiology, types of respiratory physiology, and then variation. Remember, definition is a branch of human what? Physiology that deals with what? The study of what? The specific functions of what? Different parts of respiration. You need to pause and write it down. You need to pause and recite it out. You need to pause and be ready to share with someone after this session, always and every time. Next one, we talk about types, just two types, external and internal. Is it not simple? It's simple. Pulmonary and what? Systemic circulations. Okay. So then we talk about variation. We say hip the ear. I do not think hip the ear is here. Let me see. I made a very special, okay, good, variation. Can see variation, beautiful variation. These are factors affecting or making respiration to varies. Okay, if you are a male, if you're a male, there has to be variation, because you see, female, they need more air because of their female anatomy, especially in their gestational period. And then we talk about body size. If someone is fat, okay, you don't expect him to breathe or gasp for air the way the person who is an average body size, like thumbs up now. Okay, so another thing is you talk about I know that, so we don't want to explain, we just want to capture it first, leave the explanation. So we've done definition, we've done types, external and internal. We now talk about the variation, which is hip the hue. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Do you see it now? 9. Okay, H is high altitude, E is exercise. Somebody that is doing exercise, you will not breathe this, so let's not explain. Then another thing is attitude, high altitude. Okay, high altitude. Okay, high altitude. All right, when the altitude is high, all right, then we talk about posture. We talk about posture. Then we talk about during sleep. About during sleep. Okay, about during sleep. Okay, and somebody, the anatomy is lying down to sleep. Someone that is lying down and someone that is standing, they don't breathe at the same rate. Okay, we talk about emotion. So this one does not rhyme with hip the ear, but I'm going to send a mnemonic write up that captures this hip the ear. Okay, so hip the ear. The E is environment. Okay, and then the other one is this thing. So is emotion. So that's that for that. So we are done with 3. Now let's quickly look at the next one. Okay, the next one is what? You're done with meaning. Number 1, meaning, variation, done with types. Okay, 3 things. We want to look at stages. The first thing we'll be looking at is stages of life. Did I include that here? Stages of stages of respiration. Beautiful, it is here. We have the fetal stage. Fetal means when that thing is fetus. Okay, fetus, the lungs does not work. So it's breathing using amniotic fluid. Right? In the infant stage is between 40 to 60. Okay, early childhood, I've not included here. I've done another flow chart that captures these parameters. Okay, so you can use adult, you can say fetal, can say infant, can say early childhood, can say late childhood, can say adult. Okay, so ifela, can say ifela, ifela, or felai. Okay, fiela. Okay, fiela. Stella, you heard of Stella? This one is Fiela. Okay, so it's not here. We're going to build something that come out from there. Fiela, meaning the fetal stage, infancy, early childhood, okay, late childhood, and adult. They have their specifications. Okay, then the next thing we want to look at the stages of respiration itself. Look at the stages of respiration. You can see we have pulmonary ventilation. Okay, we have stages of respiration. Let's check it so we don't make some mistake. Stages of respiration. We have ventilation, beautiful. Transport, exchange, and passive. Or let's see if it is there. Good. Transport, and see transport. Okay, it's not really itemized here. It's not really itemized here. All right, so don't really bother yourself. But if you can write it down, you write it down. This is another approach to it, and I didn't want to pick this approach. Okay, so I'm going to bring in another approach to this. So just put down stages of respiratory physiology. You have number one, call it VET P, VETP, VETP. That's the acronym for it. VETP. Write it down. Okay, I'm writing my own. Okay, number 14 we look at was stages of life. The next one we look at the stages of respiratory PIO. Okay, so life, SOPIA, SOPIA. SOPIA we have VET, VETP. V is ventilation. E is exchange stage. T is tissue stage, and the transport stage, and then P is passive stage. Passive stage. Okay, some people call it tissue stage. Call it tissue, so you can say vet T, vet T, or vet P, vet T or vet P. If you call it passive stage, some people majorly textbook call it tissue stage. Okay, tissue stage. All right, let's just get that. Remember where we are coming from. Let's start from where we are to where we are coming from. That's how we do it here. We are in the stages of respiration. So, okay, we said vet T. All right, V for ventilation, E for exchange stage, and then the T for transport stage. The last stage is tissue stage. Before that, we talk about stages of life. Okay, stages of life. We said number one, we have the failure. The failure, F for fetal stage. We said the lungs is non-functional. Okay, breathes with amniotic fluid. The I is infancy stage. We have 40 to 60 breaths per minute. We have the early childhood, that is 20 to 40 breaths per minute. We have late childhood, we have 15 to 25 breaths per minute. Then we have adulthood, 12 to 16 breaths per minute. Breath per minute. Okay, then after that we talk about variation, hip the hue. H is high altitude, so a lot of red blood cells have to be produced because there's low oxygen, so that you could trap as much oxygen because there's not much. Okay, so high altitude. E is exercise. Someone that is living in high altitude and someone that is living in low altitude won't breathe at the same thing. So those are respiratory variation, and we put it down here. All right, we said male and female, that is the gender, all right, the sex, all right, it's not going to be the same. A for asleep is asleep, E for exercise, A for asleep, P for posture. Okay, D for diagnosis. Okay, this variation is used for diagnosis. B is that function. Whatever, we are going to come on that when we are playing out the movie. You're going to really appreciate and fill in the gap, because me, I'm teaching from book, then I'm teaching from brain. That's exactly how you want to study. You teach from book, you teach from brain. Now I'm sharing with you, I'm taking you to take note, and we are running it together. Do you follow? All right, next one we look at is the types. We say internal and external. Okay, internal and external, that's when we talk about pulmonary and systemic. External is pulmonary, internal is systemic. Internal respiration is gas exchange between tissue. External respiration is gas exchange in the lungs. You see. All right, I'm making progress. And then function of respiration. You see how many things have we learned now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's why I make repetition. Now, if you just read and recite, you don't test yourself how many you can recall from your brain that you read from the book. You are joking. We keep this simple. Once it's 30 minutes, we end the session. Whatever we cannot capture, you find it in the movie slot. Okay, in movie slot, these things will be acting themselves out. Okay, I've done a whole lot of work, and you're really going to appreciate what we are doing here, because we've done a whole lot of work. Now, the next thing you want to look at, okay, is the functional anatomy. The functional anatomy of respiratory physiology. Now, this is too conclusive. This is too conclusive because this does not give us the functional anatomy as we want. Okay, the nose is not where, after the nose is the nostril. After that, the pharynx. That pharynx is divided into three: oropharynx, okay, nasopharynx, and lasso we call it null or lung. Long, you know, you have London. This one is London. Okay, so moving away from there, what do we have? You also have the larynx. Okay, larynx. After that, you have the trachea. So I'm going to send something that explains this. Trachea, bronchioles. Okay. After trachea, you have bronchi. Now you see this bronchi. We have primary bronchi, secondary bronchi, tertiary bronchi, and each of them have left and right bronchi. Okay, has left and right bronchi. Do you follow? And then watch this closely. We also have that, please pay attention very closely. We also have the respiratory. So this is not a very detailed thing of what I'm actually, I've had a flowchart on that. I just wanted to appreciate that there's functional anatomy. Okay. After functional anatomy, we talk about classification. Classification based by structure and based by function. Based by structure and based by function. Okay. Now, you see, once again, this has not given me that structure. You see, so this is depriving us of a little information, but you take down. Classification is based on structure and based on function. Then, the functional anatomy, please take note if you have to take note. Okay, functional anatomy, we have the nose. After the nose, the nostril. After the nostril, the what? Pharynx. That pharynx, you divide it into, okay, let me see if I can get for pharynx. For the this thing, let me check very closely. Let me check if I can see my functional anatomy. Okay, let me pause to make it simple. Okay, you can see the stages of life. You can see this is the stages of life. Okay, fetal stage. Okay, early infant. Okay, late infant and adult. Okay, early infant. Okay, you can see. Adult is 12 to 16 breath per minute. Before fetal, say fiela. Okay, let me see. Can I see life stages, Johnny? Okay. What I'm actually looking at is the functional anatomy. Did I raise the structure? Okay, no problem. You see, other channels don't show you how they build. Okay, they just show you their perfection, their mastery, what they use hours and days. Sometimes before they bring up a certain session, they've done a whole lot of work for years, you know. But here we start from the get to see how we struggle together to bring out the concept we want to bring out. Okay, my functional anatomy. Let me see. Beautiful. I've seen functional anatomy here. Nose, okay. The nostril, the pharynx. This one still have not given me different pharynx. Trachea, bronchi. This bronchi, we have left and right bronchi. Primary left and right bronchi. Secondary left and right bronchi. Tertiary left and right bronchi. You need to include it like a structure. Okay. And then after that, we have the bronchus. You can put the terminal bronchial. That's how you put it. Terminal bronchial. After that, you have respiratory bronchus. Respiratory bronch. You see, this one is terminal branches. Please take note. Terminal branches, not bronchus remover. Terminal branches. After terminal branches, you have respiratory bronchus. Before you have what? Respiratory units. And what are those respiratory units? Is the alveolar, alveolus. Alveolus, it has duct and it has what? Cars. Okay, that's cats. Okay, so thank you very much. We are now done with the functional anatomy. See, nostrils, okay, pharynx, okay, nostrils, nose cavity, trachea, sorry, um, pharynx, larynx, then trachea. Okay, none of these things gives me a perfect picture of what I'm looking for. So, but no problem. We are going to still work on perfect on that. Let me see. Does this give me? This still does not give me. But no problem. We are still to get to fix that. All right. So moving away from there, you see how many minutes? 24 minutes, and we've done what? Function anatomy. We've done stages of respiratory, vet P or vet T. We've done stages of life, Fiela. Okay. We've done, what else have we done? Variations, where we say hip the heels. Okay. And then what else? Types and meaning. See, so functional anatomy. We've done classification based on structure and based on function. Functional anatomy, what did we say? We said the nostrils, we said the nasal cavity, we said the pharynx, oro, naso, and oro, naso, and larynx, pharynx. Then we have the um, larynx. Then we have the trachea, Then we have the bronchi, primary bronchi, secondary bronchi, and tertiary bronchi. Each of those bronchi has left and right. And then after those bronchi, what else do we have? We have the terminal branches. The terminal branches, after that, respiratory bronchioles before respiratory units. Do you follow? I'm making progress. Okay, so the next thing we want to add before we end this concept is the function and clinical correlate. There are 12 functions, and then we have generated what to use to remember the 12 functions. Okay, so we are going to send it across as usual, but don't forget the 12 functions, okay, are not difficult. All right, you say olfaction, temperature regulation, blood pressure, endocrine function, phonation, that's speaking, homeostasis, immunity, acid base balance. They are endless, 12. Okay, function of respiratory. So with this, we've come to the rudimental basis of respiratory physiology. We said this is the running physiology. You need to watch out for this running physiology. And not only that, each time you run, each time you think of sports, you should be thinking of this physiology. Okay, this is how we'll end this session. We have another session, okay, today. So watch out. Once it's time for that, you make sure you hit the subscribe button. So if you are joining for the first time or you've been watching this up to this point and you've not subscribed, we encourage you to subscribe and comment. Subscribe, comment. Let's get to know how this is a blessing to you. And we've said that we're already making plans to move on Rumble and move on TikTok to carry out a teach talk challenge. So you look for us, MSC Mastery, in those areas so that we can be a blessing to you. We are doing this so that the higher we go into things that can help you, and we talk about AI tools that can help you fix these things. We don't hide anything from you. That's why we want you to be better. Now, as we share with you, we have heavier and deeper insight on how to make studying stored or retentive or retrievable. Once again, thank you for being a part of this. Good day and enjoy the rest of your day. Thumbs up if you are with me. Okay.